please be considerate to your fellow Sonic fan, and don't spoil the movie for everybody. Thanks, guys. What's up, everybody, and welcome to my comic review and summary video. My name is Wolfie, and today I'm going to be reviewing for you the Sonic 2 Prequel comic. This will be a relatively quick review, but do you also know it's quick? Hitting that like button and subscribing. That's right, I'm talking to you. Yeah, you. I'm looking directly at you. You haven't subscribed yet. I can see it. Go ahead and do it. It'll only take a second. That's right. Oh yeah, and ring that bell too. Yeah, ring that bell. There you go. Hit the like button while you're down there too. Yep, there you go. Good job. See, that wasn't so hard, was it? I'm proud of you. Now guys, without further ado, let's get right into this. Our first story revolves around Sonic. In this story, we learn that Wade and Tom are off on vacation. Meanwhile, Maddie is off to the clinic for the day, leaving Sonic at home to fend for himself. Unfortunately for the town, Sonic can't really contain himself for long, deciding to go out into the public, but not so much to be seen, but to have some fun. Some various speed antics ensue before he winds out in the wilderness, having a nice little small chit-chat with the only person in town that believes he exists, Crazy Carl. Sonic vents to him, basically telling him that he's grown bored after Robotnik's defeat in the very first movie, that nothing exciting has really been happening around the town, and also that he's trying to come up with a superhero name. This will come into play later. Meanwhile, in Walla Walla, Montana, where Tom and Wade happen to be taking their vacation, a robbery happens to break out in a nearby bank. A few armed robbers quickly take control of the bank, before gaining access to the vault. It turns out they're not there for money. They're actually there to get something that was requested from them by their client. The object in question being Robotnik's control glove. At the edge of town, we can see Tom and Wade ice fishing, with Wade also feeling bored of the events that have happened back at home. As it stands now, Tom is content with how everything has turned out. But before the two can enjoy their vacation further, they get an APB from the bank that's being robbed on the other side of town. Deciding to put their vacation aside, they go to investigate the call. That's also when we see Sonic back at home watching the local news and finding out about the same bank robbery. Deciding this is all the excitement he needs, he quickly speeds off to Walla Walla, stating he'll make it there in a flash. With one of the hostages hiding behind the desk and hoping it's all over, Sonic quickly makes his entrance, speeding right beside her. Something I like here is that she's obviously freaked out by this blue alien hedgehog that just showed up out of nowhere. She just seems kind of like, what the hell is that thing? And Sonic's just like, yeah, don't worry about it. I got this. I'll be able to get you out of here and save everybody in no time. However, despite her leading him to the vault, Sonic is quickly shocked and knocked out by none other than the hostage herself. Turns out she's not just a hostage, she's actually working with the robbers. With one of her boys now in possession of Robotnik's control glove, she makes a call back to her client, telling them about the glove and the appearance of a strange blue mutant. To which the client seems very interested in taking for themselves, offering them a higher reward if they bring Sonic back to them, with Robotnik's glove. Back outside the bank, Tom and Wade arrive just in time. While the two are getting filled in with the details of what's happening inside the bank, one of the robbers uses Robotnik's gloves to call upon his egg drones. Using Robotnik's drones, they begin to take the vault from the bank itself, while Sonic is still trapped inside. Seeing how useful and powerful Robotnik's technology is, the robbers then decide to keep the gloves for themselves, thinking they'll be able to use the glove to make themselves richer later on. However, with Sonic still inside the vault, he's able to fight back in his own way, using his signature speed to throw the drone off course, before the vault comes slamming back down to the ground. Now with all the pieces in place for the final confrontation with the robbers, Sonic quickly breaks out of the vault. But not before smack-talking the robbers, still trying to figure out what his superhero name should be. Back outside the bank, Tom is already being very proactive, deciding to pull a Big the Cat and use the fishing rod he brought with him for his vacation to take out the drones. While that's happening, Sonic is confronted by all the robbers, but in no surprise to anybody, he uses his signature speed to take them all out in no time, still talking mad crap to them while he does it. In a way, he's like Spider-Man, always talking and throwing everybody off their game and annoying them. With the robbers defeated, Sonic tries to get some information out of them, inquiring about where they got the glove in the first place. However, the leader is not yet defeated and decides to use the final drone to try to take Sonic out, before the plan backfires and the drone grabs her instead. With all that said and done, Sonic begins to escort both the robbers and the hostages out of the bank, asking them not to blow his cover while they're out there. And just like that, the day is saved. Well, not so much if the leader is still being taken airborne by the egg drone, before being promptly dropped. Thankfully, Sonic is there to catch her, telling her that even though she's a criminal, she doesn't deserve a broken neck. How very merciful of him. And it's right then and there he decides his new superhero nickname, Blue Justice. Much to the dismay of the leader, who is just begging him at this point to shut up. And at long last, we finally get a reveal of who the client was. The final surviving egg drone makes its way back to the mysterious client, who turns out to be none other than Agent Stone. And with that, our Sonic story ends for this part of the prequel, with Sonic speeding back home with Tom and Wade not being any the wiser that he was even there. This is a pretty fun and interesting story, a great way to showcase and explain what Sonic's been up to ever since the end of the first movie, as well as giving him a fun little adventure to have that does completely tie into what the main plot of the main story might be. Overall, a pretty decent story and kept Sonic in character to how he is in the movies. Sonic from the movies is very, very different from the Sonic we know from the games and the IDW comics. This Sonic is way more talkative and also way more immature, which comes from probably him being isolated for so long, and also still being young and hyperactive. It was cool to see Sonic actually take down small-time criminals, something you could probably imagine happening in the Sonic Adventure games when Sonic was still in Station Square. I don't know, I kinda like this one. I think I'll give this one about a 7 out of 10. Pretty decent and good setup for the future movie. But that's not all for the prequel, there's still much more. Our second story of this prequel book is all about Agent Stone, as it explains what he's been up to ever since the defeat of Dr. Robotnik in the first movie. This whole story chronicles what happens after the first story when he gains Dr. Robotnik's control glove, reading the USB drive that was attached to it to get Robotnik's manifesto. The majority of the story is actually narrated by Robotnik via the manifesto, giving Agent Stone instructions on how to blend into the small town. The funny thing about this story is that it's pretty much all true what Dr. Robotnik is saying, albeit in a very, very mean and cruel way. Speaking about how minimum wage and lower end workers are constantly screwed over by their bosses, as well as a very cynical take on work culture itself. Despite being disrespected by his bosses and some of his fellow co-workers, he makes a claim that he'll take over the entire place within a week, which he does with surprising efficiency, using various means to take out his co-workers, such as getting them fired, manipulating them, and even sabotaging a few. When it comes down to his bosses, some of them get it even worse. One of the bosses gets kidnapped and the other one actually gets arrested, taken in by the actual FBI. And just like that, within a week's time, Agent Stone has completely taken over the coffee shop. He is now the sole boss, and now we know how he got there. And that's the end of the second story. An actual fun and pretty good look into how evil and cold Agent Stone can be. We can definitely see why Robotnik chose him to be his assistant. Of all the people in that small town, he is very intelligent and also very evil as well. Able to do exactly what he said he'd do in the exact amount of time. Also nice to see that they incorporated the steamed Austrian goat milk, the very thing that Robotnik loved about his lattes in the first movie. A nice touch. Overall, I think I give this one about an 8 out of 10. This is a pretty fun read. A small look into Agent Stone and exactly where he's gonna wind up at the beginning of the second movie. But now that that's done, we need to move on to the third story of this book. This one is mainly focused on Knuckles. At the start of the story, we find out that Knuckles has been tracking Sonic the entire time, with him tracking Sonic's signal to an alien planet. As he's climbing the volcanic rim, the nearby volcano erupts, sending a bunch of rubble and debris towards him, which sends him to the bottom of a nearby cliff, where he's discovered and picked up by some mysterious strangers who also have the ability to warp. Once Knuckles is taken into custody by the mysterious strangers, we warp back to their homeworld, which turns out to be a giant casino night-oriented zone, where we see some familiar faces in the background. Hey, how about that? The Chaotix exist in the movie universe, or at least that's a fun little Easter egg for this comic. At the time of this recording, one of the directors has gone on record saying that they want to make an established Sonic cinematic universe, so who knows? Either way, an announcement is made over the intercom, stating that a main event is about to happen in the arena. Inside the arena, we find Knuckles has been taken as an unwilling challenger to fight the champion. The champion in question? A giant alien crab monster. Now the fun thing about the movie version of Knuckles is, he definitely seems more warrior-like than his game counterpart, using every weapon at his disposal, including the chains that they use to tie him up. And if that wasn't enough, he pulls a one-punch man and knocks the champion out with one blow. But despite winning his fight, This is not the victory he's really after. He's still got unfinished business with a certain blue hedgehog that he's been tracking down. With that still on his mind, he decides to use his winnings to hire the aliens that had tracked him down to hunt down Sonic himself. And that's how the Knuckles story ends. This story was pretty great too, and I'm not just saying that because Knuckles is one of my favorite characters, but this really does give a little bit of characterization to how he's going to be portrayed in the movies. Very no nonsense, very serious, and very, very tough. This Knuckles is a force of nature, and I really dig that he's actually really smart about how he's handling things. He's like, if I can't track Sonic down, I'll just hire the guys who tracked me down to find him for me. Don't worry guys, this will play into the next story coming up. But for a moment, I want to talk about this little Easter egg right here with the Chaotix showing up. Now, I don't know if this is just an Easter egg or if this is actually just them saying, hey, the Chaotix are in the movieverse, we just don't know when or if they'll show up at all. Either way, it's still nice to see them. Who knows what other Sonic characters might be lurking in the movieverse? We don't know. Just don't spoil it. I'm not gonna lie guys, I'm really excited to see how Knuckles plays in this movie. I can't wait. I love it. I love anything involving Knuckles, and this is one of the coolest versions of Knuckles yet. Now, with all that gushing out the way, it's time to move on to our second to last story. This time, the story involves Tails and what he's been up to leading up to the movie. And this story is just a nice little homage and a bunch of Easter eggs to the gameverse, as it follows Tails trying to track Sonic down through various game zones. The first place Tails goes is Sonic's old home where he used to live with Longclaw, and here we learn that Longclaw actually did pass away after her encounter with the echidnas in the first movie. Something apparently the other inhabitants of this world have respected ever since. Now with this information under his belt, Tails decides to hop through multiple portals to try to find him. The first he jumps through looks like Marble Garden Zone. However, it's occupied by this strange lizard guy called Rava the Destroyer. I don't know if this guy is going to be important in any of the movies coming up, or if he's going to be important in the second movie, or what his whole deal is even, but he's only there for a short while as Tails makes his escape. It's also here that Tails finds out that he's being tracked. Someone or something is following him every time he makes a jump through a portal. So armed with that knowledge, he begins jumping quicker between different portals. And it seems like no matter where he jumps, he can't seem to shake the person following him. With another jump, he makes it to Hilltop Zone, still unable to find Sonic at all as the presence is only getting closer and closer to him. With only 2 more places remaining for him to jump to and that presence is getting ever closer, he has to decide between the Mushroom Planet or a place called Earth. Tails makes a blind leap of faith and decides to go straight to Earth. Meanwhile, only seconds behind him, we see the alien hunters from the previous Knuckles story, just barely missing Tails as he makes his final jump. And that's when we see Knuckles telling them that he has a good idea of where to look next. And that's the end of the Tails story. This one was pretty fun. If anything, this one brings up a lot of questions. Is the game universe and the movie universe tied? Do they take place at the exact same time, just different zones or universes? And for that matter, who the heck is that Rava the Destroyer guy? I have a feeling they did not introduce this guy for no reason. He has to be important or just a throwaway character. It just seems funny he's hanging out in Marble Zone. Was he there the whole time or is this just a movieverse thing? You'll also notice that Tails made his jump from the Sonic 1 zones, Marble Zone and Spring Yard Zone, all the way to Mystic Ruin and Hilltop Zone. So if anything, Tails really made his way to Sonic 2, which is kind of fitting and themed for the movie. I'm just curious if classic Sonic is chilling somewhere back there, you know? Maybe the game and the movie universes take place all at the same time. Who knows? Even the Boom universe can still be out there. We will never know. Either way, this one gets about an 8.5 out of 10 for being fanservice-y and explaining how he got to the end of the end stinger of the Sonic 1 movie. And with that, we have our last and final story of the prequel comic. This one is all about Dr. Robotnik, aka Jim Carrey, and his survival on the Mushroom Planet. And is that a tripping out joke in a Sonic comic? I never thought I'd see the day. It's actually kind of fitting. I could totally read this in Jim Carrey's voice with him tripping out on these mushrooms. Robotnik follows the trail of blue mushrooms all the way to a giant cave where he hits the motherlode. However, upon picking the blue mushrooms inside, he discovers that the mushrooms inside the cave actually bite back. Literally. Now fighting for his life as well as still trying to hoard the mushrooms for himself, Robotnik is quickly swarmed and nearly consumed by these evil plants. However, this is Robotnik we're talking about, and even though it's a sillier version portrayed by Jim Carrey, it's still Dr. Robotnik. He quickly pulls out one of his signature gadgets, which happens to be a giant flamethrower, barbecuing all the dangerous biting plants inside. I do like this fiery panel here where Robotnik looks super demented. He almost looks like Wario here, just in this picture alone. And just like that, Robotnik's on his way, claiming that nothing will get in the way of his return back to Earth come this Christmas. He's gonna get that hedgehog, you know he will. And that's the end of the Robotnik story. Very short, but also very sweet. We get to see a little bit of how he survived this weird mushroom planet, and how dangerous it would have been for Sonic to have been here all by himself. But thankfully Robotnik is a genius and very adept to his surroundings, so we really get to see how he handles himself in very stressful situations. He's still got that very strange way of speaking and still talking down to everything, even though these are just basic plants he's fighting. Overall, a pretty fun story that I think I'd give about a 7 out of 10. And with that, the whole book is finished. I think my favorite story of this whole thing probably had to be the Knuckles story, and that's not because of bias either. I just liked how they portrayed Knuckles in this one. It's gonna be fun to see how this all comes together in the Sonic 2 movie, out soon April 8th for most of us and later for some others. Be sure to go see it in theaters and support the movie. And if you're able, go to your local comic book store and pick this book up as well. It's a pretty good read. But let me know what you all thought of this book. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you feel meh about it? What was your favorite story? And is there anything I missed? Let me know in the comment section below. Hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to the Werewoof Reactions for more videos like this one. And ring the bell to let YouTube know that you want to be notified when these videos come out. We're almost at 30k subscribers and I know we can hit it before the end of the year. One final thing, guys. Please don't spoil the movie for anybody in the comment section. If any of you have seen it earlier or if you've seen the leaks, please keep it to yourself. I don't want the comment section to be flooded with spoilers. Please be very considerate to your fellow Sonic fans and keep it to yourself. Until then, I'll see you all next time. Wash your hands, wear your mask, social distance, and be safe out there. Till then, stay tuned.